dozens of men in the last 6 months eat more food, eat more carbohydrates, and then lose a significant amount of weight, get into the leanest body fat percentage they've ever been, doing less cardio and eating more food. My name's Adam Bono. I'm an online fat loss professional. I specialize in hormonal priming, body recomposition, higher level forms of nutrition. And I've quite literally helped dozens of men break fat loss plateaus and get to the leanest body fat percentages they have ever been, using actual biochemical processes in place to get them lean, using correct nutrition in place, right? So in this video, I am going to explain how carbohydrates affect your metabolism, right? And so if you are specifically somebody who is under 2,000 calories, has lost a significant amount of weight, but now you're just plateaued out, right? Stick to the very end, because I'm going to show you exactly how you need to get yourself out of this plateau, right? But let's get right into the video, right? So in this video, I am going to be talking about certain processes aligned with carbohydrates that actually affect biochemical processes within your body that are allowing my clients to particularly get lean, right? So we are going to go over one, energy output, right? The overall breakdown of energy output, so you can kind of understand where you're at and where you've been and why you're currently kind of stuck in this plateau. Next, I want to go over two separate hormones in the human body that are affected by low carb diets. One is T4 and the other is T3. So it's thyroxine and triiodothyronine. So I'm going to explain in detail how they affect your metabolism, how carbohydrates are affecting your metabolism, and why you're in this current low carb diet and just kind of stuck, right? And then at the end of the video, I'm going to explain exactly how I get my clients to eat more food when they've been starving themselves doing low carb diets for a while. So anyways, getting right into the video, is a lot of people, first of all, think that one, energy output is just one simple equation, right? Quite literally, there's a few different buckets when it comes to energy output, right? One is your resting metabolic rate, right? Which is 50 to 70% of your entire energy output, right? So that's like breathing, blood flow, sleeping function, organ function, and all the actual functions that you need to just simply stand upright, right? So the next is more of like physical activity, right? So physical activity comes in two separate forms. The actual physical activity that you do, maybe working out at the gym, going on a run, and the purposeful actions that you do. And the next is NEAT, which is non-energy activity thermogenesis, which is the actual amount of calories that you burn inadvertently, right? Not even trying, right? For instance, like me sitting right here, fidgeting and typing on my keyboard all day, making incredible client transformations. I burned quite literally 500 calories within just doing that. So there's a difference between actually going out and doing physical activity rather than actually doing, the fidgeting little small non-energy activity thermogenesis movements throughout the day that actually improve not only how much calories you burn, but cognitively, you just stuff you don't even have to think about, right? And so next is the thermic effect of food, right? Which is how many calories it actually takes to break down certain molecules of macromolecules, right? So like systematically breaking down protein, which is a thermic effect of 30, systematically breaking down carbohydrates, which is a thermic effect of 10, systematically breaking down fats with a thermic effect of 0. The amount of food that you actually eat in the day's time, how much it takes your body to actually, one, completely break that down, utilize it in your actual body, and actually utilize it as like energy, right? So there's these certain buckets that your actually energy output is associated to, right? So it's not just about how much you can do and how less you can eat, right? Because your body needs fuel. Your body is like a car. And you need the premium version of the fuel. So like when you're eating like good foods and you're understanding that like one, if you've been under a low-carb diet for a while, all of these certain buckets start to get down-regulated, right? So now that, like, say, for instance, that you have a certain amount of calories that you've been eating per day, say, like 2,000 calories, and you cut carbohydrates completely out of your diet, and now you've down-regulated everything, the water in these four buckets start to get lower, right? So there's no longer having the same effect as of energy burned in the human body. Resting metabolic rate is the number one thing the body wants to preserve because the body itself, it doesn't want to starve, right? It's a biochemical reaction in the human body and a survival mechanism to, one, savor your resting metabolic rate to support essential body functions, right? So it's going to start transferring all of this energy output into this one bucket of resting metabolic rate, right? And then the physical activity that you do starts to downregulate. The NEAT, non-energy activity thermogenesis, starts to downregulate. The food, so obviously no longer eating as much food, starts to downregulate. So you understand that, like, one, as you start to lower food for an extended period of time, your body starts to adapt, right? It starts to adapt very quickly. And so, like, one, it wants to save the resting metabolic rate, and so it starts to downregulate all the other essential body functions in the form of calories out, and you're no longer burning the same amount of calories that you're thinking, right? So another thing that comes up into play is that, one, when people go into a low-carb diet, you've probably made significant progress in the past, but you probably also have never actually kept it off, right? And there's a certain reason why, right? So to understand what, like, carbohydrates are, you have to understand glucose, right? Glucose gets stored in the triglycerides and stored fat cells. Basically, you know, in prehistoric times when our body is starving, it used to take food, put them back in the form of fat cells called triglycerides, store them up, save them for later, and so that if we were starving, that we could release those fatty acid triglycerides into the bloodstream and be used as ATP. So over time, now that, we no longer have to go hunt for food, we can simply, call Uber Eats and get shipped right to where we want to. There's one, your body is more likely to store fat, right? Because it is one, if you're not burning that, right, then you're not burning the glucose, then it's going to store fat. If you eat too much carbs, you will get fat. I'm not saying that you won't, but like eating a certain correct amount of carbohydrates actually leads to the correct levels of, one, ATP in the human body, but being able to give the other buckets like this energy to be able to support physical activity, NEAT. And so being able to increase what they call the energy flux, which means that you're eating more calories, but your body is burning more calories because it has more calories available to burn, right? So as you start to go into these like low carb diets, the one thing that I see a ton of people do is that, one, as you start to go into low carb diets, biochemically, one, the actual thyroid, like the thyroid hormone of T3, which was the actual usable form of the thyroid hormone T4, starts to downregulate, right? So you start to actually produce less of the thyroid gland in form of T3 with the less carbs that you eat, right? So one, your actual thyroid hormone starts to downregulate the less amount of carbs that you eat. So keep that in mind, right? So now that your body is eating less carbohydrates for an extended period of time, you've probably lost the weight, but you've either probably gained it all back, or you've probably just hit that plateau where you still have like the excess amount of kind of like water weight on the lower body section that kind of you can kind of pinch, but like it doesn't really want to like go anywhere, right? So that's the body. It's wanting to savor that. It's wanting to save that because it thinks that you're starving, right? You can't put the body in a hypocaloric deficit for an extended period of time because it's going to adapt to it. So one, as a T3 usable form of thyroid hormone starts to downregulate, your energy output starts to downregulate, your RMR, your physical activity, your thermic effect of food, your NEAT, all starts to downregulate. Then you start to become more in the space of insulin resistant, right? Which you've probably added a little bit of carbs before. You feel maybe a little bit slow. You blow up, like get a little bit watery, gain a crap ton of weight really fast. And, you get like brain fog, you get jitters, and all these things are happening, right? And that's because your body is not getting so much of this glucose at once when it's been so adapted to using mostly fat and glucose production rather than actually glucose metabolism, turning carbohydrates into the usable form of ATP, that it starts to almost go in this kind of like hyperbolic state where it doesn't know what's going on, right? So think about it like this too. Like think about your first 2 weeks when you're in the gym, when you're just sore as all could be out as soon as you got out, right? That's the same thing when you're adding these carbohydrates. The body doesn't really know what's happening when you add these carbohydrates, and so you blow up really fast, gain a lot of weight. You can't go out to eat with your friends or family members because if you go a little bit over on those calories, then you gain weight super fast. Can't go on vacation anymore because as soon as you go on vacation and get off of the low carb diet, you gain a shit ton of weight back, and it's even harder to get it off the second time because you've already down-regulated everything, right? So how do we particularly fix this? That's what you guys are here to learn. How do we fix this, right? So with carbohydrates in general, carbohydrates do reduce oxidative stress, adrenal fatigue, and they also improve T3 levels, right? So as you start to add carbohydrates back into your diet, your body needs this certain transitionary period to, one, start to utilize more usable form of T3 to actually burn more calories, right? So there's this kind of a transitionary period where most people kind of just run back to what they've been always doing, which is like most likely like a low carb diet for a pretty long period of time. Anytime they try to get out of that diet, like they just gain the weight back really fast, right? There's a correct way out of it, right? And it's understanding how the body works, understanding that the body is highly adaptable, right? And so what we need to do is get that T3 hormone to kind of spike for us and get the body's buckets to start to fill back up and get all the buckets in the form of energy output to start to fill back up. Because now that your body is, one, utilizing the energy you're putting into those buckets to, one, have more thermic effect of food, have more physical activity in the form of your body can expend more energy with the physical activity. Your body can expend more energy in the form of non-energy activity, thermogenesis. Your body can expend more energy with more, like, having a better metabolic rate. And so as you start to eat more, you start to actually lose weight, right? Because you're getting the T3 to kind of spike. We're getting your thyroid to kind of start working again. And there's always this transitionary period, which is typically about 5 to 8 weeks, where, like, if you don't do it correctly, that's when you can gain a crap ton of weight. But if you do it systematically and slow enough, you're able to add carbohydrates, hyper-focus on the T3 levels, and drop even weight and get even leaner, right? It's exactly how I'm doing it with all of my clients. Like, you guys think on the internet, like, that I'm using some, like, you guys, first of all, a lot of people think that, like, I'm either lying or, like, my clients aren't making this crazy progress, but the form of metabolic priming I use is a specific mechanism in hyper-targeting T3 to better introduce carbohydrates back into your diet, to slowly and systematically improve carbohydrate metabolism, burning more food, eating more calories, right? I have clients that are up 2,000 calories and down 20 pounds. I have case study after case study after case study. I have testimonial. There's over 30 different case studies and testimonials on my YouTube channel right now that you can go watch at the end of time. Like, what I'm doing is working, but there's a systematic approach to it, and you have to know what you're doing. You have to, one, give a little bit of carbohydrates and let for the body to adapt. Get the body to make sure that we're burning a little bit more energy each week. Get the body's, one, like, even like gastrointestinal tract to optimize as well with, even like digestion, because the small intestine is a really big, factor when it comes into play with metabolism. And so understanding all these key factors, we put these places and we put these processes along with my clients, and that's how they're eating 2,000, 2,500 calories more, but they're down 20, 40 pounds. I just had a client, Robert, check it today at 40 pounds down in 7 weeks, eating more food. Right? It's not a secret what I'm doing. I'm just using biochemical processes aligned with the human body to get you there, right? That's why it's predictable, but that's why it's also sustainable. Because once you understand how to do it and you want to understand how your body works, then you can maintain it for longer rather than sticking to a low carb diet and then completely cutting off, 1/3 of the world's actual nutrients, right? Which carbohydrates are in everything. So you want to learn how to swim rather than being scared of water. And so, like I said, it is a systematic approach. add a little bit of carbohydrates, make sure that your training's on point, make sure that if we do have vitamin deficiency in the form of D3, even like, kelp has iodine, selenium, if we're deficient in any of those areas for the places of like hypothyroidism, we align those as well. But like those are the certain things that do matter, right? Because if you do this correctly, you can and you know what you're doing, you can eat a shit ton more food than you think that you can, and you can get pretty dang lean, right? So, and that's exactly how I'm doing with all my clients, right? So if you want help with this, because like I said, I tell you guys on this channel all the time, I just try to give you guys as much value as humanly possible. And I hope that at least that the value that I give on this channel is at least able to help you make the initial progress and help you break the plateau. Because my goal for everybody on my channel is for this channel to be, beneficial to everybody, right? And help everybody specifically on their fitness journey. But for my paid for clients, I do lay it out for them step by step. And it is a proven process that I've done dozens of times, right? So if you want the extra help, you want the extra guidance, and you're someone like me who just hates wasting their time trying stuff that may work or may not work, not knowing if to do it correctly, we're more than happy to help. We are taking on new clients. We'll jump on a call with you, see if you're a good fit for the program. If you are, get you on and get you rolling. And I will teach you specifically how your body works, how your body utilizes fat metabolism over glucose metabolism differently. And we can kind of learn your body. And once you learn your body, it's really powerful. Understanding how your body works is super, super powerful tactic to learn. So if you need some more help, like I said, sign up for time down below. Love to see you on the call. Love to see you in the program with the rest of the guys. We got a really good thing going on. But for the guys who just want to follow for initial information to help you kind of break this plateau, I hope this helps. And comment, and subscribe to make sure that you're following up with these videos. And let me guys know if you need anything. Comment down below if you have any questions at all. And I'll see you guys next time.